All right. That should fix the sound. Sorry about that. All right. Just sitting here talking to myself, right? But let me know that you can hear me now. Louis Babbage, good to see you. Hello, mate. Also good to see you. Audio settings were a little weird. Oh yeah, Debbie was saying he couldn't hear me too. Apparently, I'm just going to be talking here too in the DYGYCON chat. Feel free to join us here in the auto if you want, Debbie. If you want to try turning on your DYGYCON audio. Let's see. Guess I'm still kind of a DYGYCON noob. Look, I emoted like a pro, from noob to pro, no time flat. I like that, like when I chat, you get to see my little character do his whole chatty thing. And Debbie Metal there is doing some dancing. Eddie Longshanks. Yeah, sounds great. Thank you, Eddie. Thanks for letting me know the audio wasn't working. Good to see. Louis Babbage says, that's me, Ludi Bear. Yeah, always love reading your comments, Ludi. You're a lot of fun in the Discord. Always good to have you. And, sometimes you have some crazy ideas, but, I'm a man of crazy ideas. Only a crazy man would try to create NFT gaming. I used to read a online blog called Kotaku a lot, and they also, part of the Gizmodo network, IO9. Right. They hate NFT games so much. I go on there and they're just like, oh my gosh, NFTs and games are just, they're just like spewing volatile stuff all the time about NFT gaming. I'm just like, wait, no, like I'm Robert Trusardi. Let me share with you just the amazing opportunity that is, owning your video game items and being able to convert your time and effort in games into actual, commodity, something you can hold. And I don't know why it's so hard for some people to understand. It's just like there's this um, there's this what do you call it? Comparison or allegory that I've heard Elon Musk use, I think is really great. Um, which was that if you try to like introduce people to new concept, first there's resistance, like from going from horses to automobiles. When they first introduced automobiles, people are like, why would I need an automobile? Like you're trying to sell me fuel to make my automobile go, and they're like, look, I have a horse, he eats grass. He eats grass for free. Like, why would I ever use an automobile that just costs a lot of money and then you're going to charge me fuel for? Ha! Ha! Automobiles will never catch on. And, but what they didn't know was the kind of opportunity that automobiles that can provide, in terms of, they don't ever get tired. All you have to do is refuel them, right? And occasionally maintenance. And they could go potentially much faster. You could push them harder or basically, no stamina. Where horse would need to rest. Yeah, so there's Wayne. He says, hello, golf lover here. Good to see you, golf lover. Always good to see you in the Discord. Elsie Galunga says, sound great. A war cry ripened. Good to see you again. Eddie says, let the trade their swords of 1,000 truths for 50 million in-game gold. Lewis also says NFT gaming is great for people who have an interest in gaming crypto and a bit of gambling. Right now, yes, but I mean, our whole goal is completely change that. I think part of the problem with NFT gaming right now is people, a lot of developers don't know what to do. Like they literally have no idea what they're doing. They're like, well, let's try this. And we were a little bit like that in the beginning too. We were a little bit about like, why don't we, see what's working and what's not working. What we've seen is really you need to be able to reward players with some kind of substantial, some kind of substance for their time and effort. And that is like an effort that needs to be sustainable in some way. And so if you look at Castles, the NFT game, a lot of what we do, it actually is just NFT Shizzle was saying on our Discord today. He was like, yeah, like when you do things in the Castle game, there's some kind of certain reward that you get, and um, and so we're all about that. We're all about having essentially the value of the gameplay that you're having and experiencing and doing, your actions of performing, that all actually has some kind of substantial reward for you guys. And the more we do it, I think the better we get at it in some ways. Like actually just just between us, I've been pitching uh Josh on free to play ideas for a while now. Like for a couple of months. I've been like, "Hey Josh, what if the free to play mode for castles does this? And then what if it does this?" And I think about it a lot. Like I have to obsess about a free to play mode quite often. And there's always been certain problems. Either it was too complicated or the value proposition wasn't clear or and then I kind of had an epiphany today where I was like, oh, I have these two separate concepts. What if I kind of marry them together? And then I was like, oh, like that totally makes sense. So we're actually kind of moving ahead right now on that particular free to play concept. And when we add that on top of everything else that we're doing right now, it's going to be really cool. I think, we kind of have to agree still on whether or not the proposal is right, but I feel really good about it. I think we're probably going to do it. It's something we still got to, agree on over here. The biggest problem with the free to play mode is making sure that like, the bots don't take advantage of it. If we allow you to basically mint assets for, only the minting fee cost, then what kind of gameplay makes sense? Because if it's about tokens, well then, usually get bots come in and they monopolize everything. And we're like, well, how do we make it so that, it's almost not worth a botter's time to bot it, or even if they did, it doesn't actually make that big a difference. And so, we'd actually have to put it live and see whether or not that's the case. But I'm starting to feel pretty good about it.
Hey Robert, is there?
Hey, Sarah, is that also known as Waffles Kitty?
Yes, also
Oh,
known as Lava Cake.
hey,
We will do a little intro, then we'll let you take the floor. After you make the right.
great. Yeah, I'm kind of having a problem right now that I was afraid I was going to have, which is I think your voice is coming over my microphone thing. But guys, let me know if you can hear Sarah okay. Um, yeah, I might. Maybe I'll just turn up the desktop audio. We'll see. You guys, let me know if you have any trouble with the audio with between me and Sarah, because I couldn't find like my headphones apparently broke. They're not working anymore. So I'm like,
I can hear fine.
okay. Oh, I meant like on my live stream as well, because I'm doing a live stream.
Oh, okay.
You can just mute the live stream on the side if you have it popped open.
Yeah. Why? I guess on this side, I wanted to basically make it so that your audio from the desktop, because I think the problem right now is they can hear you through my microphone, which is where the audio might get weird. Because I'd prefer to have it go straight through the desktop, but I guess it's something I couldn't fix until right now.
We'll work through it, don't worry.
Yeah. Well, right now what I've done is I've put you also on the desktop audio.
Oh yeah, you can just like lower the volume on that.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine. Robert, you'll be doing most of the talking anyhow.
Great. I love that. Perfect. You guys are so amazing. I like you already.
Alright, so what do is okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Very good.
Awesome. So this is a couple of the people now they have like a blue hair. So I'll let Robert take over.
Great, thank you guys. Let's see. So present is basically mean talk, right? Oh, I guess I have my video off right now, but that's okay. I don't think I can have my video both on the live stream and the and DYGYCON at the same time. But hi, I am Robert Trusardi. I am the creator of Castles and Metasource Games. We make castles, and you know, for a very long time, I just wanted a really good game where I could actually own my game assets. So you know, been a gamer most of my life, and I would play games like World of Warcraft, and I was like, why can't I own the gold coins that I earn? Why can't I own the armor that I make? And I knew the answer was because, you know, they had a safe business model of selling the content and subscriptions directly, and they didn't need to take the risk of creating marketplaces and things between players because it was a whole other level of business, right? But for years I was really just dissatisfied with not having that, and you know, played other games like you know, Project Entropia just a little bit just to test the waters. And in that particular game, I just felt like it was too nerdy. The barrier to entry was too high. It felt too much like a giant gambling simulator. And then there was Second Life, which was a little bit different. And I tried it out, and it just didn't hit any of, you know, it wasn't World of Warcraft. It was something else entirely. It was more of like a social simulator, and I didn't like the economics either because it was too much built around purely content creation and not like I wanted to go fight a monster or build a farm and like create a potion shop and like things like this, and it didn't have the right economics. So when blockchain games came around, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Let's build this kind of thing. So we've kind of had an interesting journey, and where we've ended up here with Castles is that in Castles, you can start by playing the land game. You can basically get farms and then upgrade them into ranches, upgrade the ranches into villages, and um, and then from there you can merge them all the way up to a castle. And we actually have a really strong economy. I think we have arguably the strongest economy inside of blockchain games right now. People, you know, I don't think enough people have been paying attention to our assets and kind of the way they've been holding value. But you know, every once in a while we get a person who kind of starts to put the numbers together, and they're like, "Oh, actually, this is a really strong play to earn game." I think we've had really strong retention with our users, and we focus a lot on the actual gameplay. My philosophy has always been that people, when they play to earn games, or they play, you know, a game where they actually own their assets, that their time and effort is rewarded. And so we just had users today in the chat being like, "Hey, you know, your guys' systems are like not about gambling and stuff like a lot of other games or a lot of other proposals for other games, or like people make proposals for our game all the time about changing things. We're like, yeah, that's too much like gambling. We don't like that. You know, we want to make sure that there's some kind of substantive something like your time and effort is actually like a commodity that you then get to trade with other players if you want." And so things have been really great. We have a dungeoning expansion coming up here soon. We posted a video showing basically a preview of what it's like to have your hero and customize your hero. We have like 11 different customizable pieces for your hero, and then your hero can also change the colors of their equipment. We have a range from common to mythic equipment. So we just played basically a video just showing people what this actually looks like. What it looks like is, you know, is like customizing a character like a lot. And so we get a lot of comment. We have like almost like a 15% I forget what you call it, like activity rate on the video. So like every you know, like 15% of the people who watch the video are actually commenting on it right now. So it's an engagement. So we have really high engagement on that video for this dungeoning expansion coming out. And we grind really hard. We work really hard to keep building the game. And that's Castles. You know, Castles is all about building this fantasy world where you get to build wealth, influence, and glory. And so yeah, that's the pretty much the hot topics, who I am and what Castles is. I don't know if you guys have any questions, or if there's, we could kind of go from there. I can just keep on talking. That's cool too. I don't know if anyone's there to
No,
ask questions.
I always have questions.
All right, nice. Let's throw them at me.
So we will be pulling some questions from chat as well. So if you did have any questions for Robert, feel free to post them in there. One of the questions that I like to do is just kind of understand, because I'm this is our first time speaking, you and I. So origin story, the inspiration behind kind of Castles, and what was that aha moment for you where you're like, this is a project that needs to become reality?
Yeah, it was a couple of things, but the first thing that happened to me was that I'd kind of reached the end of my ropes working in Hollywood. I had been a filmmaker for many years and been trying to work that out. I really wasn't happy with where I was at. I felt like I didn't have the community that I wanted, even after all these years in Hollywood. I just didn't feel like I was in the right place, and I tried getting into sales, and I liked sales because it was more social. I got outside of the writing room and the editing room, but I still wasn't happy with that either. And I've always been a technology guy, even though I've mostly focused on movies. I have a lot of different touch points in technology. I used to work for Disney.com, maintaining their homepage. It's actually my first job, right out of high school. But I was like, you know what? I've been waiting for a while for this whole, like, play World of Warcraft and get to own all your items thing. And I was looking at blockchain, and I'm like, well, I've been following blockchain for a long time. I don't actually own any crypto. At least I didn't back then. Now I do. But back then I was like, well, I've never owned crypto really. I mean, maybe for a hot minute, but I was like, just I know this technology can make that happen. And at the time, I don't even think I realized the real marketplaces were out there yet. I don't think I even really understood the marketplaces. But what happened was, I just had an idea for capturing a player's time and effort as value, as a commodity. Actually have a patent pending for that specific technology, but I just had this like epiphany, and over time, we've actually taken this technology and we've kind of made it a secondary or a tertiary goal for us, because we think it's not ready yet. We think in order for that patent to work well, it probably needs to use human verification technology. So that would mean like your computer camera being able to verify that you're a human being. We don't think there's a way to properly protect against bots without it. But this technology I'm talking about would basically allow you to play any video game that allows it, to capture your time and value as commodity, and then use it. And if you're familiar with all the games, it's basically like a much better version of what they're trying to do. But we do think that we need like a human verification technology in order to make that work. So in the meantime, what we've done is we're like, you know what, let's just make play to earn games, or make games where you actually get to own your time and effort. You get to own your assets, and let's learn how to do this the right way. And as we've been progressing, we're like, what we're really doing here is we're Castles is basically like the beachhead for us. It's like us, showing up inside of like NFT, metaverse, play to earn gaming, where you actually player ownership gaming, where you own your assets, and being able to prove that we know what we're doing. And we feel really good about it. We think, the data that we're collecting, we have high user retention. People seem to love the game. We focus largely on enjoyment of the game. Like the actual playing of the game is enjoyable, rather than, a lot of people come into the game, they're like, well, what's the ROI? And we're like, is the game fun? Like let's deal with first things first. Is our game fun? If it is, well then, maybe we can talk about like market activity, because that's completely secondary. We sell our game items as collectibles and as gameplay, and not as an investment. So we think that's working really well, and we actually spend the majority of our time working on that. We still haven't really looked for investment from other people, from venture capitalists or anything, because we've been largely focused on making sure that we're doing the fun gameplay thing right. And our players seem to think so. They can't stop talking about how they enjoy the game, and we take that as a sign that we're moving in the right direction. So
I really appreciate that. That was a really in-depth kind of exploration, really on the kind of the genesis, right? The birth of kind of these ideas, and where you find this inspiration from. I'm going to switch gears over to roadmap, because I know that, for a developer, it's really exciting, because we try to think of all these awesome features and game mechanics in ways that can help feel that the game is rewarding
Mhm.
and fulfilling, but also dynamic at the same time. What are some interesting kind of roadmap, I guess, milestones that are coming up that you can actually share?
Yeah, what we have is our Dungeons expansion is coming up very soon. We're working on a couple of the systems, and we've actually started to sell some of our hero packs already. And we think we're probably going to be able to let our players open the hero packs and start to actually customize their heroes within the next 3 weeks to a month. So within that time frame, people will be able to start to get their heroes out, start to customize them. The battling of monsters, because you'll be able to battle monsters and stuff, is going to come a little bit later just because it takes time for us to roll out these systems. But that's what's next big on the roadmap. My business partner and I just actually announced that we have a couple of new features coming out. We have crafters in the game, so we're just about to announce the next crafter, and the next crafter will probably be available maybe in the first week of August. So this is probably the first anyone's hearing about this right now, but we're thinking probably like very, very early August, like the first week of August, we're looking at the new crafter coming out. And then after that, we have what's called a guild, sorry, not a I shouldn't say guild, I should say a wonder. We have wonders in our game. Basically, our idea is that like the players help construct these wonders. So far, the players have constructed two of them. One shares wax income from our drops, and basically, we have assets in our game that we trade and distribute for wax, and we basically give a percentage of that back to the players. The percentage depends on the asset, but we have almost about $5,000 worth of wax tokens that will be redistributed to players in at the end of this month. And I think our biggest redistribution was close to $30,000 worth of wax tokens. So that's one of our wonders does, and we haven't released yet what this upcoming wonder is going to do. But I think actually, in a week or two, if people look at all the stuff that we have in the pipeline, it's going to make their head spin. We actually have a lot of features coming out on the roadmap, and it's always about expanding the game and making it fun. And we get lots of ideas all the time, like, ooh, like what if we let the players do this and that and that? We're like, but is it fun? If we are going to add another layer of complexity to the game, is that actually going to bring enjoyment to them? And if the answer is no, we usually skip the idea or table it to see if we can make it fun later. But yeah, we think we have some more fun stuff coming down the pipeline. People are going to love.
Well, thank you, Robert. I really appreciate that. We've got a few more minutes for anyone who may have questions. Feel free to just post those in chat. Did you want to take any questions that you're fielding from your live stream? You're welcome to do so as well. Just feel free to interrupt me, but I'm just going to keep throwing questions at you if that's
Yeah,
okay.
well, I'll take your questions, and then after that, I can take my community questions because I'll still be live streaming with them.
Okay, sounds good. So we've got about 7 minutes left, and it looks like we've got. Does anyone want to hop on voice? Don't be shy. If you want to hop on voice and you feel brave enough, now's the time to do it. Give you about 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So we don't have any brave individuals that want to come in a voice chat, or maybe they're finding their mute button. Either way, feel free to raise your hand, or you can just gently interrupt the conversation at any time. So, Robert, the game development world comes with lots of unique challenges. I asked this question also in the previous AMA. One of those challenges is finding the right artist or team member, developer, or coder, or marketing. You said that you came from Hollywood originally. Are you seeing an exodus of, I would say, kind of traditional AAA game developers, right, that are off chain, right? In the film industry, right? Taking a look at Web3 and saying, that's really interesting. I'd like to go there. Or is it really what Web3 is kind of like a vacuum and we're trying to pull in as much talent as we can? From your perspective, what does that look like?
I think we're more of a vacuum. I was actually just listening to a podcast today of some like very big game developers, like the guy who founded Blizzard North that made Diablo, and they're talking about like what's the future of gaming. And I've only listened to about half of it so far. No one's even mentioned NFTs or metaverses or blockchain, and I'm just like, really? And I think the
Where are you
reason
going?
is because they're kind of dealing with what the current opportunity is, which is a lot of multi-platform gaming. So having a game that you can use on PC, on Xbox, on Nintendo, and these kinds of developers are already so big and they're such big names. They kind of have to address the massive markets out there in order to really capitalize on the existing marketplace. But what we're building right here for me in NFT and blockchain-based gaming and player ownership, we're more like we've just landed the ships on the beachhead of America. And the only thing here is basically untamed lands, maybe some natives, but otherwise it's like, you can make your own way in this land of opportunity. And that is something much riskier, for both the players and the developers. There's a lot of unknowns, but that's what I feel like it is. Like we're really just on the frontier of what we're building here, and there's no, there's very few rules. It's a really new space, and so I think we're more like a vacuum, and we're starting to pull people in. And I think there's a lot of risk here. There's a lot more risk here than most people are willing to take on. So, I have respect for anybody who's in this space and trying to build it.
Excellent. We do have
I
a
think
question.
like the reason why there's some play that stuff like what you're saying for podcasts is like only is like a majority of them are pretty like open to it, but they're kind of more with season or something like that. But, like there's also like some tools, I believe that's like kind of involved in that too. Like sometimes like saying about is or people just like look at you. I used to look at my uncle. So like I think it's right, you know.
I'm
Yeah,
that uncle to my nieces and nephews.
yeah, I think you're right that there's
That's me.
that there's a there's a little bit of a stigmatism towards blockchain, and it's kind of hard to help people understand what we're building here. And I think the reality is we still don't have a really easy way for the masses to adopt this technology. And there is a conversation around consumer protection that is really not existent in the current space. And I think that's what it's going to take for mass adoption is protecting consumers. I actually talk about this a lot. In fact, I was just messaging DApp Radar the other day because DApp Radar, they have a great platform that tracks all these games and stuff. And they just posted an article like the other day and they're like, oh yeah, Farmers World, one of the biggest games on Wax. And I'm like, actually, Farmers World turned out to be a rug pull. They took about $100 million worth of earnings and they've left, which might be legal, but the game is basically dead and nobody's playing it anymore. So, and they don't even know. But how do we protect consumers from that? And this is one of the problems I have with the space we're on right now, which is Wax blockchain, which is there were a lot of projects that were grifters, mainly Farmers World, that took $100 million worth of user value and that could have been reinvested into the space to make the game bigger and draw more users here. Instead, they vacated, and instead of having that money build the space, it's we're not able to build the value in the space that we wanted. So it's kind of example of it, and it's kind of the situation we're in right now. And so I think what's really going to bring the users in is when there's a platform that's able to really protect consumers. I know that a lot of people are like, oh no, decentralization, decentralization. I'm like, whenever you start to say that, you start to pull in the grifters and the botters and all the people who want to basically steal money from the hard playing users. And I'm like, but when we get to figure out a way that we can actually protect the players, that's where things are really going to get mass adopted and the sentiment is going to change. Until we have that, we're still like in the wild, wild west. That's just the way I see it.
We have
A couple questions in the chat. Oh, sorry, go
oh,
ahead.
great. No, you're reading my mind. Go ahead.
I think what was question was what are you most proud of in the game?
Oh, one of my
Yeah, what
most
feature specifically are you most proud of?
Yes.
what I'm most proud of you know, our partners at Apex NFT. It's not necessarily a feature, but you know, we gave them a vision for like a website that's like alive and is a lot of fun. We originally had a website that was just really it was kind of awful basically, and you know, it wasn't greatly designed. It was kind of ugly, but we went in, we put a lot of work to basically make it look like a fun game. That when you go to Castles, it feels alive and it feels like this is a premium gaming experience, AAA. And so we put a lot of work into the look and the feel of the website so that it feels like you're playing with a toy, like any great game should. And so I think that's one of the best features. I mean, we love our economy, our in-game economy. We think that's really strong and healthy and how that works. But I think the big accomplishment is being able to tie in, you know, the simplicity of playing like a wax blockchain and you know, minting things and merging things and get earning tokens and turning that into experience that just when you do it, it feels fun. It looks fun.
Awesome. And then another one in the post is like what's your future outlook 1, 3, 5 years?
For this particular game, like how long is it going to last? Is that what future outlook? Oh, well, what is the outlook in 5 years? Yeah, well, we have a Castles 3D game in the planning. We're not developing it at the moment. I kind of have like a little design paper that I write from time to time. But you know, it's in our trajectory, and by the time we release that, then we're also going to start using the patent pending technology I have for basically capturing a player's time and effort as value, like as a commodity, and it'll be used in many multiple games, but it'll probably possibly start with Castle's 3D game. So, you know, we believe that as a player plays a game, they should be able to have their time and value be captured as an asset. And so we want to do that in actual 3D world, like a persistent playable 3D game and not just like you know a click on a button to mint a card to merge a card to earn a token. You know, we want to go way beyond that. You know, we think that actual you know playable games is like you know World of Warcraft, StarCraft, you know, Nintendo games, like whatever kind of game you can think of, can actually have your time and value be captured, time and effort captured as value. So, and we think that that's going to start to turn its head closer, like in 5 years. So people are going to start to see that, and part of that will be the human verification technology I'm talking about. You know, being able to verify that the actual human being who is registered with the game is actually playing the game. So, do we have another 7 minutes, or we? Because for some reason I thought it was until 12:20. Am I wrong or right about that? Or my time, 12:20.
Okay, so like you have some time to a couple things and then we'll schedule.
Okay. Okay, cool. Do you guys play castles at all? Anybody?
This will be my first time playing
Okay, cool. Well,
as a new player. What do you recommend?
I recommend getting a castle. Getting you know, if you can go big, get a castle, get a baron. And then I think the lumberjacks and the carpenters are fairly affordable, but really kind of the big thing right now in the game is becoming self-sustainable. If you can get a castle or a baron, you can basically be self-sustaining for creating new game assets. And that's one of the things that really makes our game work is that you do need some certain assets to be self-sustainable, and they're not necessarily the cheapest. I think Castle right now minimum is like $300. Same thing with the Baron. But once you can get these assets, it gives you access into self-sustaining, creating new assets, and we do want to make a free-to-play version that basically doesn't touch the main economy, so that way it can't get you know botted or something. But we find that that works. That people really like being self-sustainable, and when we add our dungeoning aspect, it's going to make self-sustainability even more important. Because hey, if you want to basically use your heroes all the time, or have them fighting monsters all the time and using all their stamina, making sure that they're being highly effective, well, then you're probably going to need a castle too. And this starts to kind of, deepen it. And I think the real world highly functions this way. Like if you want to not have to pay rent, you have to own property. So, and I do think that model, as we've seen in the real world, works really well. You get to kind of call the economic shots if you own a place, and um, and so we think that's really working. So yeah, I would suggest get a castle, a baron if you can, and if you like the game, well then just start accumulating those. One of the fun parts we have in the game is basically we let players start to craft their own land packs. So we have something called a explorers pack, which has 2 lands in it, and another land pack called a Seafarer pack, which has 5 lands in it. And so you're able to basically use resources in the game to craft these packs, and then you can either open the packs or you can sell the packs. If you open the packs, well, then that allows you to keep building up more lands, make more castles, and basically grow your kingdom to become more self-sustainable, to make more lands and stuff like that. So it's a really fun game loop. We find a lot of people love to post in the chat. They're like, "Oh, I just finished crafting a Seafarer pack. I just opened it," and they're like, "Yeah, it like had a town in it, which is awesome," or basically had all farms. We call those Sea Farmer packs, so because it's full of farms. But yeah, the self-sustainability to getting to craft your own lands, to merge up to castles, and really castles are the crown jewel of the game right now, because they have they allow you to mint what we call royal seals, and the royal seals get you a lot of the self-sustainability into the game. So castles, just like the name of the game,
Excellent.
is a pretty big deal of having one of those.
Awesome. We want to have time to let you kind of stick around.
Hmm.
I think Robert, you're still gonna be on.
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, I just merged some lands in the demo, and I'm gonna go get myself maybe my first pack. And let's go. Let's go get a
Nice.
castle. Thank you, Robert. Really, really appreciate you going through this and educating us more. I'm new to a lot of these games, but I'm ready to play, ready to get in and spend more time with Play to Earn. Here at DigiCon 10, this is what we're here to celebrate. Waffles, where are we going next?
Let's go to MSQ.
All right, we'll see you at the next one. We're going to share some footage from the previous DigiCon events. For those of you who haven't attended, and maybe you're watching over the live stream and you still would like to attend, there is a chance for you to do so. Just get in. What is the DigiCon website, Waffle?
Just digicom.com, or find us on Twitter. We're the most active on Twitter, and we just created a Discord, so just find us.
The
Yeah, we're just
Discord is
gonna let
very
them
new and it's
finish up
growing
with what
very
they're saying right
quickly.
now, and then
Because
I'll
everyone who's
jump
in
back
there,
into the stream,
all of
guys, and
the
hold my
game
own little
developers are in there,
AMA with
event
everybody.
speakers, all of this, all the participants really who want to be a part of this event are in there as well. So it's a really great way for you to just communicate with others about the DigiCon experience specifically, because each event that does happen on this platform, on the Inverse, is its own unique event and happens in a very different way. So we look forward to that. All right, we'll see you at the next talk. And thank you again, Robert. We'll see you again, hopefully soon, at DigiCon 11.
Thank you, guys. This was fun. Have fun out there. All right. I think the DigCon crowd has been able to vacate the premises, so I'm not going to monopolize their stream. But that was fun, guys. Hopefully you could hear them kind of okay. And yeah, I'm sure I got a bunch of questions. I gotta like scroll all the way back up, right? Let's see. Live free COD. Oh, looks like we had a troll there. Is that what was going on? Oh, okay. Look like we got a troll, guys. Oh, we can guess who that is, right? Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, we're gonna do a little inception thing here for a second. Okay, well, I think that troll's been deleted from the channel. Let me know for some reason if that didn't work out the way it was supposed to. Yeah, I think there's probably, what's his name? Christopher, whatever his name was, right? We know who he is. He's been a troll. He likes to come around and troll us. I actually think that he has some mental problems, right? We've had this guy following us for a while. Um, but I don't know, sometimes there are just people who are not healthy in the world. Anyways, Warrior Line Gaming says, tell us more about the new Crafter and Wonder. Well, what can I say? I think Josh is going to have another AMA on Tuesday, and I kind of want to save like the juicy stuff for Josh. Um, but I can say that our goal is that you'd be able to start crafting that like the beginning of August. What it's involved with, it was actually Josh's idea. Josh came and he was like, "Hey, so I was kind of thinking about this." And he's like, "And I think this is a good idea." And I was looking at it and kind of evaluating it. And I was like, "You know what? You're right. This actually adds depth to the economy in different ways." And what I can say is we're not going to announce the official rune source crafter this next week. We do have a dedicated rune source crafter, who will have dungeon stuff specifically. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. But so we're not ready to release the official rune source crafter yet because we think we should do that closer to when Dungeons is actually released. And when that happens, maybe it's the week of Dungeons being released and you being able to basically fight monsters. Then we release the rune source crafter. But the rune source crafter is probably coming a little bit closer to that kind of time. Um, but what we are going to be talking about here, as far as the this new crafter and this new wonder, is going to be dungeons related. Um, but in a way that I guess I didn't even think of doing. That Josh was just like, "Oh, hey, like, what if we do this?" I think you guys are actually going to be pleasantly surprised by it because it didn't really occur to me to do this, and until Josh brought it up, and he was like, "Hey, wait a minute." It's like, "What about this? Like, this makes sense." And the cool thing is, this is actually going to add some gameplay before Dungeons actually goes live. So maybe that's giving kind of a little bit of a hint. I think Josh will probably say more on Tuesday. I don't know if he's planning to reveal everything on Tuesday, but you guys should push him. You guys should push him to reveal more on Tuesday. First letter of the new crafter. Ooh, I feel like that'd be giving away too much, right? I feel like if I tell you the first letter, there's going to be a lot of speculation, and probably some of it would be right. But Julian says he didn't think that was Christopher. I thought it was maybe the boss dude. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I didn't read too much of the messages. I just saw some of the trolling, and I was like, that guy's got to go. The bigger we get, the more trolls we're gonna get too. It's just how it rolls. The more popular you are, the more the trolls want to come and try to, kind of. I don't know why some people are like that. Some people also just mentally unstable, and it's just part of it. Um, see, James Anaj, he says, can you say anything about what the crafter will need to recharge, or if the wonder requires anything? Um, I'd say that I can tell you what it's gonna use to craft in the first place, which is in order to craft new crafter, you're going to need basically, all the same ingredients that, or same type of ingredients that you needed to craft the previous wonders. So it's going to take, royal seals, lumber, and fine wood to craft the new crafter. I can't say what's going to cost to to recharge it yet. I think I'll leave that for Josh to talk about, see if he wants to give away everything there. But I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised by the gameplay that it adds before dungeons. Um, and long term too. I think in the long term it's going to add a lot of value. So I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised. I kind of, since it was Josh's idea, I want to, let him have the satisfaction of telling you guys more of the juicy bits. Um, oh, Julian says he didn't think he needed a ban. I don't know. From what I could see, totally looked like totally ban worthy. Let's see. Julian M says Cookie Boy was his name. I don't know. We'll have to talk about the drama later. I'm here for a little AMA. If you guys have any other questions to ask, I mean, we got a lot going on, guys. I'm actually going to NFT Expoverse Los Angeles in 2 weeks. I still need to start setting up some meetings down there. Probably meet with some VCs, some investors, and other stuff. Yeah, looking forward to that. And we're getting really serious over here. Josh and I have identified ways that our business is working and isn't working. And so I'm always, working to get us to improve and get better traction. But I'm really excited for the next month, guys. I think it's going to be massively huge. We have so much coming with these new crafters, with dungeons. Um, uh, we just heard the guy from DYGYCON a moment ago. He was like, yeah, he's playing the demo and kind of giving them an idea of how to play the game, which is, we think that's helping convert users. And this free to play thing, I'm really excited for. I don't know when it would go live, probably just before Dungeons. I think that's going to be really cool. I think that can start to bring in a lot of new legitimate players. And I think a lot of the existing players might want to play the free to play mode too, just because there'll be some rewards for the existing game without probably messing with the core game economy. Like like you won't be able to earn in source or anything like that necessarily through. But maybe there might be some raffles involved in the play to free version. Um, Maybe it's something that, when you've already used up all your in-game resources, you can just kind of go to the free-to-play version and kind of play that a bit and have that work out for possible rewards. So maybe that'll be pretty cool. Let's see. James Inage says, any of the treasures have their artwork made yet? Yeah, we actually have some drafts for the treasures. We're actually probably going to get that done very soon, like in a couple of days, have those treasures done. I actually came up with a list of treasures and I was like, here, let's make these treasures for the wealth NFTs for dungeons and that we're going to be dropping to players here in the next week. And then he gave me those and I was like, I'm not feeling some of these. They don't feel, now that I see them, they don't feel as like treasure hoardy as I want them to be. Like when you're getting the wealth NFTs, I want you to feel like you're getting this little treasure hoard together, right? You're kind of collecting those, and it feels good to hold the treasure. Um, and so I'm having him revise a couple of them. I'm changing almost half of them. I was like, like one of them was a painting, and then when I saw the painting, I was like, a painting doesn't feel like treasure now that I look at it. Another one was a vase. I had a vase, and I was like, I'm not really feeling like vase as treasure. Maybe if I make like we go back to it and make like a gilded golden ruby vase or something like that, maybe. But just a standard vase didn't feel very treasure enough like. So we're kind of going back through that list and um, and putting those in. Let's see. Warcry says ask question twice, but don't want to be rude to ask it again. Yeah, I mean you can ask it again. I guess I just didn't see it, Warcry. Yeah, Warcry says ban that dude. Yeah, from what I could tell, it seemed like a total troll. Isn't that what we had? We had a couple of weeks ago where like guys came in and they're like, "You guys played the game. The developers played the game. That's like not fair." And it's just like, find me a find me any blockchain game where the developers don't play it. Just find me one. Find me one and tell me a game that the blockchain, those developers don't play the game. Just find me one that it doesn't exist. And if it does exist, that's weird. That's weird. Scroll back down. I couldn't find your question, Warcry. So feel free to ask it again. Still, I scrolled up, tried to find it. Wayne says, any idea what time on Tuesday Josh is going to have the AMA? I can double check. It's in our Discord announcements. It says Tuesday, July 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, PDT. Whenever 10 a.m. might be for you, you can always just go to the Discord. It's in the events there, and you can see. Let's see. Patch says, "Oh God, not live free." Guess maybe it's not that guy. James asks, "Will all treasure payouts for hero holders be the same, or different people get different artworks values?" We think we're going to drop them inside of these promo treasure chests, and the treasure chests will have a range of different things. And so the exalted packs will get better chances. We'll give you a promo treasure chest that has some wealth NFTs. So you might get something good, you might not. You might get a rare. I think we're probably going to put in between common to rare. So common, uncommon, and rare will be possible for you inside of those treasure chest promo packs. And we want to like drop a couple of them. I think Josh was thinking maybe one a week. We'll see. Warcry Ripon says, asked if you and Josh offer consultation services. How do you mean consultation services? Um, like for other game developers, like how to build a good blockchain game. Uh, I mean, I'm not sure anybody's really paying for that at the moment. I think we're kind of at a stage where everyone's trying to figure things out and they're not willing to pay yet. But feel free to elaborate on that question if you want. Warcry, that's cool. And yeah, the treasures between like common to uncommon and rare will all have different basically values in the way that they convert. Curtis says, think a dev not playing the game would be a weakness. They wouldn't understand what the game needs. Yeah, exactly. That too, right? Yeah, I think we're literally just being trolled, we don't know why people troll. We think there's all kinds of reasons. There's some people who are just predators. We've seen people who come into the chat just to prey on us. It's weird. We also think that I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people who try to prey on our community the most are actually like scammers and botters. And I think it's just part of the psyche, right? If you are someone who like is so messed up that you're going to go steal things from other people and try to scam other people, it wouldn't surprise me if you're also then going to go prey on their community, which just to me just makes it worse, right? And makes me feel really vindicated when I ban trolls, because it's like, because if you're here to troll on the community just by the things you say, like what, if that person had the opportunity to also harm the community in other ways, why wouldn't they? So I feel really vindicated in banning trolls because because who knows what else they're up to. Maybe they're scammers, spotters. Just not going to give them the luxury of preying on our community. Let's see. Yeah, but I feel really good about how things went inside of the Castles AMA today. They brought a lot of people to come check it out. That was really cool. A lot of people there, and they had good questions. It's weird. DYGYCON right now is telling me that my mic is off, but I can see myself talking. That's strange. That's strange. I'm gonna scroll back down to see if there are any new questions. Let's see. James Nage says the treasure source releases a while after the treasure drops, I assume. Yeah, I think Treasure Source is probably going to be one of the later things to be released with Dungeons. So the way we see it going is basically we're going to have these new crafters come out. Then we're probably going to have the new Wonder come out, and then probably possibly the play to earn free the I'm sorry the free to play version first, maybe, and then the dungeons uh, the dungeons customizing your hero, being able to open the hero packs, and then getting the wealth NFTs, and then before you get to open the hero packs, and then once the hero packs you can open them and customize your heroes, you'll be able to basically then load out your heroes and put the armor on them, and then save them to the smart contract and trade them on the open market. And then after that, we're going to release probably treasure source conversion, monster crafting, monster fighting. What order those things happen, not sure, but the treasure source converting, the monster fighting, the monster crafting, that is all probably going to happen close to simultaneously. I think we probably want to have all those features start to roll out within the same time frame. It might make the most sense for the conversion to happen first, because that's a feature that we could test, and it definitely needs to be integrated before we can do any kind of monster crafting. So that might be the first thing to get released before monster crafting and monster fighting does. And yeah, yeah. So I think that does make sense. Hopefully that answers your question. We do kind of have these rollouts that are going to happen. It's going to be a very busy month. Going to be very busy, like 2 months during this whole dungeoning release. It's going to be exciting. Uh, really a lot of exciting things. And I'm finally starting to look into Facebook ads. I think maybe there's a chance they'll let us do Facebook ads. And, I want to make a commercial where you have the Baron being like, welcome to Castles. Build your empire, grow your land, and, trade your assets with other players. And fight with heroes and customize them, do really cool things. And the script will be written to be much better than the words that I'm saying right now, but you guys get the feeling, right? Like, get people excited about dungeons. And I think all we're really missing for the game right now is a proper funnel to kind of have people come into the game. And if we can get ads going onto Facebook, I think Google might be a little more difficult. I think Google has some basically you have to get approval in order to do like NFT kind of projects. But I was just looking at the Facebook regulations or rules that they have around things, and I was like, oh, I actually think they might allow us. They're not saying anything about us that they might disallow. So Facebook's maybe yes, and then Google might be a no, or at least we might have to fight for that. But Warcry says off. See you guys. Thanks, Robert. Thank you for joining us, Warcry, and thank you for the question. That was cool. That was cool. Well, any other questions? We still have Warrior Lion. Some cool guys covered us a lot. Made some videos for us. One of the most knowledgeable people around the game there. All right. Well, DYGYCON was cool. I think a little bit of sneak peek was that Josh was talking about maybe a collab with Realm NFT. We actually do have some collabs that are basically in the pipeline. We have a Luna story. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go check out the Luna story on YouTube. Really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff. And I think we'll have to do another chat here at DYGYCON because I think this is pretty useful. We got to talk about the game a little bit, and I think having people at DYGYCON know a little bit more about the game is pretty cool too. See, James says, "Do we have a release date on the first audio stories? Will it be a weekly release of chapters?" Yeah, I think it's going to be a weekly release. It's a good question of when. It might be just a spur of the moment thing. It might just be like one day I'm like, hey, I got like another couple of hours. Let me throw the stories together and then get them uploaded and then share them with everybody. And then do it then. Or maybe we have a set schedule announcement for the stories. But yeah, I think maybe like kind of a weekly thing makes sense. We want to start with Luna's story. She has 10 chapters. So maybe we release three and then four. Um, that kind of makes sense. That'd be kind of like 3 weeks worth of Luna story. And then we would start to get into the Caldor and Bancroft. It might be less than a week because eventually when we get to the Caldor and Bancroft stories, who also have 10 chapters each, um, you know, we don't want to go like 3 months or 2.5 months of releasing the story. Probably want it to be a little bit shorter than that. So maybe we'll start to speed up the stories the closer we get to release. And they all kind of, each of the characters is kind of telling a larger part of the story, the grander story. So you see Luna's perspective of her story, and then when you get Caldor, he has his own story, but his story overlaps a little bit with Luna's, and the same with Bancroft. There is overlaps between their stories about the larger thing that is happening, which is pretty interesting. People give Luna a lot of crap for being called Luna because the Luna crypto had a major crash and caused all these problems. And I'm like, she's not named. She's named for a very specific reason. Like in this, like there is a reason she is called Luna. Like her name means something, and is tied to more than I think anybody could possibly imagine here. We've actually, I'm not going to give away too much, but we've made videos before in the past where something bled through and people didn't notice, or at least they never said anything. And so there's a larger story playing inside of the Metasource games that most people haven't caught on to yet. But more of those secrets will be revealed as time goes on. Curtis says, just wonder how the game will explode in popularity after crypto in general starts doing better. Yeah, it really could. Like when crypto starts doing better and people start getting back into the crypto market, it really could be people start to pay more attention to the game. It really could happen. I mean, we're kind of betting on it happening, but in the meantime, we're building and doing our best to bring people back into crypto gaming. Because it's not just like us hoping that crypto takes off again and more people play our game. It's more like we need to give people good reasons to come play our game, no matter the market. Let's see, Northside Ragnarok says, "Will you get the Wombat wallet login on the Castle site?" Wombat wallet login? I don't know. Tell us more about that. I'm not even sure what that necessarily means. Like a login on the website for the Wombat? I don't know. A lot of people bring up Wombat. I don't know what it'd take to be involved with that project. It might be a great idea. We have larger collections reaching out to us all the time and more often with doing collabs. So we'll see. Wayne asks, any ideas on time frame for a beta version of Dungeons that we might be able to participate in? Yeah, we think you guys will be able to start to use your heroes in about 3 weeks to a month. You'll be able to start to unpack them. You'll be able to customize them. It's actually coming together pretty fast. They've been actually, the team over at Apex who does our smart contract and website development, they've been working really hard. We were kind of surprised to see how far along they were. Like if you go to the YouTube video where we're showing you how you could actually like, switch the armors around and customize them, that is actually happening on the test net right now. There are literally templates on the test net and they have the artwork. And then when you cycle through the hero, it is cycling through the template art on the actual NFT on the test net. So it's actually really far along. There are still some things we're working out, but the base technology is mostly already done. That we just need to add a couple more hooks for sorting, for the colors. But I would say probably the hardest part has already been done. It's just a matter of volume now. Like, now that some of the harder parts are done, we kind of have to do more of the voluming, like getting all of the art done. We have basically all of the uncommon to rares done for all the characters, but we have to export it into layers and then make the templates, and it's a really big process. We're going to have like, I think, well over 1,000 individual templates just for the equipment alone. It's going to be a lot, but it's all going to be worth it because it's going to be super cool. But yeah, three weeks to a month. James Anage says, are all the voice actors team members? No, actually, we hire our voice actors from voices.com. Stephen Kelly voices the Baron. He's come back to do it twice. That's really cool. Hopefully, we'll get him to keep coming back. I want to have him try out for Bancroft. Actually, I think he'd make a cool Bancroft. See if maybe he can do the voice for Bancroft. He wouldn't sound like the Baron. He would sound different, but a lot of voice actors can do many different voices. In fact, if you ever watch like animes or TV shows, a lot of the times the main voice actors will actually voice like multiple characters in one episode. Like, Batman will actually voice like Thug number 1, Thug number 2, and like, random guy on street number 4, you know, or like a sidekick of another bad guy or something. And the reason is because they get paid more. Like, sure, they can voice the top actor, but sometimes it's like, oh, you know what? We can give you a couple of these side parts and give you like these and give you like a little like 10, 20, 30% boost in your paycheck because you read for multiple parts. And a lot of people don't notice this happens. If you just watch the credits, though, you'll usually see, oh, like they voiced a couple of these characters in the same episode, they can get paid more. But anyways, I think it would be cool to bring Stephen Kelly back and to voice him. And Jodie Grokel, I think her name is Grokel, Grochal. She voices Luna. And so we'll start to credit her on the actual chapters. But I really like her voice reading. We had a couple of different voice actors who also auditioned for Luna that I thought were interesting. But what I liked about Jodie's reading for Luna was that she kind of got the vulnerable part of the character. And so, we had a couple ones who like they were very strong and we, I do see Luna as being a strong character, but there's also kind of a vulnerability to Luna. She's on the run. She's in a situation that she's never been before, and she's kind of lost in a way. And I think Jodie kind of really was able to bring that into the voice acting in a way that none of the other people who auditioned were able to do it. I think it's really tough. It's really tough to authentically speak through or be a vulnerable character, as I think a lot of us spend most of our time trying to be very tough and strong and all this stuff. And it's what society teaches us to be, strong and like invincible, right? Like, be strong but it's something else to be to say, actually, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Like, kind of lost. Life is hard. To be able to say those things authentically, I think takes just a certain, I don't know, personality trait. She did a great job there. So I think you guys are going to like her. Jodie with an I, Godi. So how she spells her name. I'll double check and credit her correctly on the videos. But as you can tell, I'm a filmmaker, used to be a filmmaker, and I probably will be a filmmaker again one day. But storytelling, very important to me. Something you guys might not know about me just from because I'm developing castles all the time is that the actual creating of stories, the story that's being told, and your guys' story too. This was something I had a big debate about myself when it came to the heroes, was I was like, do I let you guys create heroes from scratch and just like faceless heroes, or basically like you put your own personality onto the hero, or do we create actual characters? And I was like, this, Castles is really your story as a player. It's about you building wealth, influence, and glory. It's about your, relationship to the Baron, and have you made wonders with him? And so, it's your kingdom and they're your heroes. You're the monster crafter. And I was like, well, Dungeon Lord, as I'm calling it. And I was like, well, I actually think one of the best ways to have you guys identify with the story is to actually create characters who have the backstory and kind of, who those people are to you, your attachment to them will actually be part of your story. But I think the more that you care about those characters, then I think the more they fit. So in the end, I decided to go with actually creating characters like Luna and Caldor and Bancroft, and we did it for one really main reason that will become apparent as more time goes by. I don't think you guys will ever guess what I'm talking about right now. Maybe one day, a couple of months from now, you'll look back and be like, wait a minute, maybe you said that thing during that AMA that now makes sense. But you know, we wanted this particular story for a reason, and so it was all a matter of like making it all work together. And I think what really makes dungeoning unique is being able to customize what the hero looks like, and that kind of makes it then your self-expression. And so once we can let you have that level of self-expression, we can now also have characters that previously exist in this world with their own stories. And we think that good character is also really important to branding, right? Like people make lots of comments about the Baron because he has this great voice, he has this great look. Like, it all ties together. The Baron is part of the brand, the same way that a logo is part of the brand, and that you start to identify with these things and you care about them. And the same thing with, Disney characters, Disney logos, it's a brand that's built up so that you care about it. And I think we kind of carry the same philosophy that as we create the game, create the assets, we want you guys to care about them and feel attached to them. And part of that is the work we do. We really love the Castles logo, and it's really no accident that we really like it because we worked really hard on it. We went back and forth for weeks. Some of you have heard how Josh had the idea to have the sword as the T in Castles and just made the whole thing. But it all was about the back and the forth and the creation. So this whole creative part of the game is really important to me. James Nage says, Northside Ragnarok says, I am hoping for an animation of the chapter in the future. We may. The animations are really expensive. They take a lot of time. So, but will you see these characters come back in Castles 3D? Almost guaranteed, and that way we can do 3D animations, right? And that it's a little bit cheaper, or it makes more sense to do computer animations because you can keep reusing those characters. But I don't know if we'll ever see like an actual animated version. Back when we were making way more money, I was thinking about it, but now, we've had to scale budget back a little bit in certain ways, and just because the income isn't quite what it used to be, and also, it's really expensive to build dungeons. We're actually paying close to 3 times more on artwork than we were last year because everybody came to our artists and they're like, "Hey, we need you," and so our art studio was like, "Yeah, everybody wants to use us, so we got to raise our rates." And I was like, "Well, okay. I mean, makes sense. I like them. We are probably going to have to scale back the spending on artwork as well, but for right now we're kind of locked into what we've already agreed to when it comes to a lot of the dungeon stuff, and that's kind of the way it is. Eddie Longshank says Castles the movie. Um, yeah, Northside Ragnarok says the voices are awesome. The story is very good so far. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, James Longa says, yeah, Dan Castanella has 360 characters credited to him on The Simpsons. Yes, yeah, because he makes extra money. Some really talented voice actors out there. Yeah, so it makes sense to have people do multiple voices. Northside Ragnarok says, maybe give voices to each action performed in the game. Branding, most important thing for sure. Yeah, I really have a problem with sound in the game because we're not there yet. I kind of prefer not to have like sound in the game because you have to turn it on and off, and the other thing is just like it loads down the website. You guys would be surprised how making additional images or making additional sounds and stuff actually starts to slow down people's experience using websites. I have a pretty good phone, I have a pretty good computer. Not everybody does. If you have good tech, it's not an issue. But if you have a phone that's a couple years old or a computer that's starting to show its age, the more stuff we try to load up the website with, which is one of the reasons we don't use Unity or like an actual computer app for the game. It's just because we think it's a way to just really reduce the amount of players who can access the game, this particular market right now. See, James Nagy says, do the lumberjack and carpenter have names? They should get a bit of a backstory too. I've been thinking about that. Maybe it's when I start to think about it, I start to remember all the other things on my to-do list. I after I end this video, I'm probably going to have to work another 4 to 5 hours today at the very minimum, just to stay on track with everything. So, and it's Saturday. So, when am I going to have time to create a lumberjack and carpenter story? I don't know. Sometimes I find the time to do certain things, but my schedule is pretty crazy, guys. I have I have the NFT Expo next week. I just realized I accidentally scheduled my hotel for the wrong day, so I have to go and fix that. Uh, the fun never ends over here at Metasource Games and Castles NFT. Which, I mean, just saying that, I really do need to get back to all the things I was talking about and all of the doing a mock-up for the free-to-play version right now to officially give to everybody and be like, hey, so here's the idea. How long would it take to get this free-to-play version up? And when could we do it? And make sure that nobody has a heart attack about it. Because it's going to take effort, right? It's going to take effort. Sound and website drains the battery quicker also. Yeah, it does. But you guys are awesome. Thank you for joining us, Healthy, and James and Age and Eddie and Warcry's gone now, but Ludi Bear was here too. Maybe Baron is dating Carpenter. I think the Baron. I think the Baron might kind of have you know maybe a fling with the Carpenter, but he's all about the influence, right? He's probably looking to hook up with a rich Baroness, as Eddie likes to keep talking about. Is it Eddie? I think it's Eddie who keeps talking about a Baroness, right? Um, um, Maybe that's Ludi Bear. Maybe they're both kind of in on that, but yeah, so I'm gonna shut the stream down a couple seconds. Ooh, looks like we finally just broke over 4,000 subscribers. We're at 4.01 subscribers. Eddie says, "Off to my kids' MMA fight now." Nice, nice. Hope he wins. Hope he breaks a leg. Hopefully the other guy's leg, not his leg. But nice. James August says, "Got to deals on fine lumber somehow." Yeah, I got to get deals on the fine lumber. I hear that. I hear that. But yeah. And he says, "No tavern wench." We're really not a tavern wench kind of game. We're about heroes around here. Could a tavern wench be a hero? I don't know, but I'm not so sure. If we had a tavern wench, we'd probably need like like the equivalent of a tavern wench that is male, so that it's fair. So there's like, the local buff stupid guy, whatever you call that, the local dude. I don't know. I don't know what we'd call that guy. The local um, buffoon. Maybe that's what we'd call him. We get the local buffoon, local country buffoon. Carpenter likes the Baron's wood. Oh my gosh. You guys are awful. You guys are awful. This is James Kern. James August says, have a great day, Robert. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the Discord chat. Remember to come and join. It's been a really great chat. Did have to ban that troll, but otherwise, I've had a really great time talking with you guys. So have a great one. Remember to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember to join my full business partner, Josh, for Tuesday AMA, probably back here on YouTube. Check out Discord for that announcement or Twitter. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good one.